Halifax has appointed its new permanent director of planning, potentially signaling a renewed relationship between property developers and the municipality. Kelly Denty, who has been the acting director of planning and development since August 2017, was officially appointed the permanent director of the department on June 18. There was no news release, with the regional councillor making the announcement at a recent meeting. Kelly Denty took on the interim role of Director of Planning and Development in Halifax after her predecessor, Bob Burke, was dismissed amid complaints that he was unresponsive to the development community, contributed Facebook. The appointment of a new Director of Planning and Development in Halifax comes at a pivotal time. The region is midway through the completion of its Centre Plan, the document that will guide growth in the urban parts of the municipality for the next decade or more, for Star Metro. Silas Brown, Denty took on the interim role when her predecessor, Bob Burke, was fired without warning or explanation from the municipality amid complaints that he was unresponsive to the development community. His dismissal came at a pivotal time for planning in the municipality, just before the adoption of its plan for transportation and midway through the completion of its Centre Plan, the document that will guide growth in the urban parts of the municipality for the next decade or more. Denty has worked in a variety of roles for Halifax Regional Municipality since amalgamation in 1996, and she had worked for the old Halifax County, the municipal entity that governed the rural areas of the current municipality. Since 1988, article continued below. She believes those 30 years in the organization give her corporate memory and corporate history that will help get her department moving. I know what happens when and why, she said. The municipality hired a recruitment firm, Knightsbridge Robertson Surrett, for a $30,000 national search to fill the position. It posted job ads online in March. Evidently, they found their best candidate here in Halifax. Deputy Mayor Wei Mason said he thinks it makes sense to hire someone from within the municipality's workforce, with projects like the Centre Plan nearing the finish line. The hope for having her there is that Ms. Denty doesn't require a long lead-up of learning what's going on, that she's already been doing the job, he said. Councillor Sam Austin agreed. Article continued below. She knows the municipality well. She's come up through the ranks through her, so you have someone that's very knowledgeable of it, he said. She comes with a reputation of being very pragmatic and problem-solving. Denty sees herself that way, too. I believe in just planning for the real world, she said. You might hear folks talk about ideas and theories. I always try to figure out, well, how does that translate into practice? What does that mean to the average citizen, the average homeowner? How do we turn that into a regulation that means something to somebody we can actually administer? Denty's appointment could mean a different relationship between city administration and the development community in Halifax. I think with Kelly, she's a process person, she keeps people accountable, and she's also very responsive to different folks in industry, said Adam McLean, a vice president with Armco Capital, the company that recently had its controversial Willow Tree development approved by Halifax Regional Council. There'll be a better relationship overall with the development community, but also she'll keep her staff more accountable and get to a service standard level that keeps things moving along. Asked whether she thinks her relationships with developers will be better than Burke's, Denty said, better than they have been in recent years. I'll put it to you that way. I think I've got a good relationship because my background comes from regulation. So I've worked with developers my entire career, and I try to find common ground, she said. Try to find a productive working relationship so I can understand what their needs are, but they also need to understand the intent of our regulation. Along with being the Director of Planning and Development, Burke was also the municipality's first chief planner. That role typically includes developing a forward-looking, high-level vision for a municipality's planning and development. Denty isn't concerned that she doesn't have the title of chief planner. She even suggested it could be divisive in her department, which includes 4 different fields. It's more than just planning, Denty said. When you say chief planner, it's like planning is the only thing that matters, Mason said. It hasn't really been made clear to him why the chief planner title appears to have been deleted. Personnel issues are within the chief administrative officer's purview, not council's, so whether to change a job title like Denty's is up to current Saint-Jacques Dubé. I don't know that any official decision has been made, Mason said, adding, "It is not our job to tell the Sal how it should be." He said he would be very disappointed if the title was eliminated entirely. Councillor Sean Cleary said he thinks the scrapping of the title isn't a bad thing necessarily. It doesn't have to be in the same role, but I would like to see some sort of chief visionist, if you will, he said. For McLean, Denty's brand of pragmatism will be more effective. Bob Bierk was more high-level and visionary, which again is important, he said, but you need to balance that with managing your people internally and keeping things moving, along with getting the center plan implemented. That will be one of Denty's main areas of focus. The department is undergoing several different changes right now, replacing old fee structures, permitting and licensing systems, and land use bylaws, as well as reviewing its planning applications process. There's also a backlog of development applications to work through, which Denty said was up to as many as 150 last year, and is now down closer to 110. I've got history and knowledge, and I think I can help through that history and knowledge to kind of keep the department moving and get some projects up to council for decision, she said. Zane Woodford is a Halifax-based reporter covering City Hall and Court. Follow him on Twitter, @Woodford.